When it comes to discussing the realities of parenting, you can expect some sensitive material and occasional profanity.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Anonymous Mom, a podcast where two childhood friends reconnect to discuss mom life, adulting, and everything in between.
And today we're talking about making mom friends because we all know how weird and difficult it can be. Just sometimes awkward.
I'm a hermit and I don't really have friends. So I have friends, but I'm not an extrovert.
Yes. No, and that's the hard part with the meeting mom. And I consider myself an extrovert, introvert. I can be both.
You're a Gemini.
I'm a Gemini, so I can be both. I can totally play both things.
Yeah.
However, I also, and this sounds terrible, but I don't want to make more friends. I feel
you shouldn't have to feel obligated because of being a mom that you have. And there is that pressure. Because I'm glad you brought this up this week because I feel that should I have mom friends? And obviously I'll have play dates with and friends, but it's a play date and then we're done.
Right. Right.
It's not like I'm going to get a coffee and stuff.
Exactly. I have been very lucky. The mom friends that I've met that I have through my kids, I'm still friends with the girls we grew up with, those are my mom friends.
Yes.
And then I have the oldest out of our friend group. I didn't know anybody in her class. And then I got lucky that the mom that I met through my daughter's friend is awesome. Super down to earth, but you don't know what you're getting into when you meet these people. It's just really weird because you don't know if the person that you meet is going to be like you or.
And just because your kid has a friend doesn't mean you have to be friends with their parent. And
right.
That is my fear too. And luckily, who considers her best friend, I love her mom. Same thing. When we're at the park, I can just talk to her. It's not just
yeah. I meet friend's mom for coffee and we're good friends and we can text and stuff like that and love her. Super duper sweet. But it's all the other ones I don't really know a whole lot. And I don't know if I want to get to know them either. That sounds terrible. I don't know if
you shouldn't feel obligated to there's so much to do in a day.
Yeah.
When you think about the pressures of just being a parent to begin with, and then feeling this social obligation because people tell you should, or people in TV have it. I personally think it's silly.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing I found is that a lot of things that women are lacking is friendship.
Yeah.
And we hear that and then it's go out and find friends. I have my friends and I hope that they stay my friends forever. However, I do like to meet new people and everything like that. But the stigma for today is you meet these mom friends and you build a village and everybody helps everybody. And
you take turns and stuff.
Yes. And it's I also am lucky too that when I do need help, I can reach out and be hey, the mom friends thing is
it's unnecessary pressure.
Yes. And it's also I went to the wine tasting last night and you can see all the mom groups friends come and it's then you see that and then they post it on Facebook or social media. Then an outsider looking in is I wish I had friends like that we went and did that. I stayed home with my kids. You know what I mean? It's just such a weird thing but I do think the one thing that women are lacking is friendships. But then it's how do you find your right fit as a friend?
I think if you're looking at mom friends, they have to be aligned with your style of parenting to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing, being a single mom too, where it's okay, I want Ruby to have friends where I can just go to the park and sit and talk with this person because I don't really have any free time. I can't just leave Ruby at home when she's 4 and go and meet somebody for a drink or coffee. And then, I'm working every other point other than, taking care of her. So for me, it's okay, if I can even go to a park or go to the children's museum with another parent, I'm still at least getting that socialness for myself.
Right.
He's also having time, friend time. But that's where I'm kind of limited for now. When she gets older, it'll be different.
Yeah. And it's different. I feel now having older kids, I feel it's not as much. I don't have the pressure to make new friends as I feel at where you're at with his age. This is when all of a sudden it's hey, you want to hang out? Hey, you want to hang out? What are you doing?
Oh my God.
Like
when she starts at elementary school, I'm probably going to have to get on anxiety medicine before because she even had a pizza party last night at her preschool, and my mom had a meeting, so she couldn't meet me until after the meeting. So me and went separate, and she usually comes with me because she knows my social anxiety. Yeah. So when we first get there, I lay out her blanket and I immediately just pick up my phone because her best friend wasn't there. So because my hope was I was going to find them and go sit with them. And then she hasn't been in school this week. So I was like, oh crap. So I had nobody to talk to besides the teachers, and they were busy getting the pizza ready.
Right.
So I just went on my phone immediately until my mom came. But luckily, after my mom came, this parent comes up to me and she's like, are you his mom? I'm like, yeah. And her son is having a birthday party in a couple of weeks. So she wanted to invite some of the kids that he talks about. And he talks about apparently all the time. Oh. And we actually hit it off. And so it was this like, oh my God, because you never know.
Right. No, you don't. And then you don't know, like, I swear.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like my kids know, I swear. So I don't want to be like, oh God, that girl. Then this is the other thing. If you set the bad example, then all of a sudden it's like, that's mom.
Yeah.
That's his mom. Stay away from her.
Me.
Do you know what I mean?
Me.
Like,
yeah.
I'm awkward sometimes where like, I don't know, like, am I talking too much? Am I not talking enough? Like, oh my God, like you leave a conversation and you're like, oh my God, what did I just say? Did I overshare like I usually do? Because I am an overshare, and there's either people that are like totally okay with that, or they're like, oh my God, she just told me about how she got a period.
There's always going to be people like that though.
Yes.
But also at the same time, we remember that we're an example for our kids. So it's like, are you going to let some bitch get to you or try to make you feel bad about yourself because you're uniquely you?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. And it's just, and then you get to like these things where like you go to like, and we haven't had for a while because of COVID, but they have these Christmas programs and you go and like,
I'm so excited for
and
that.
it's so cute. Yeah. And it's so cute. But then like, you already notice the clickiness. Yes. And it's like, I get it.
Any
like clicks are inevitable.
It's
inevitable no matter what you do. And it's also, it's a comfort zone too. So
it's like, it is.
You go and watch the parade. They did a Halloween parade at the girls' at school. You go and you stand next to who you know. And then there's always like, I always see that mom that like feels left out. And me, I want to be like, come hang out. I don't want anybody to feel left out, but I also don't want to feel like I'm inviting you to be
like, we're going to talk every day. Yeah.
Yeah. This sounds terrible. I'm not a fan of the surface friends. There's also being nice.
Just being
nice.
Not being fake.
I'm just being, I want to be nice. I want to include you, but I don't want to be surface friendly either. Like I'm only your friend because, you know, of that, the fake friend sort of a thing.
There should be like an app for moms, like, dating apps.
Yes.
Where
that's
you can
a good idea.
Because think about this too. I mean, especially.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. There's a lot of trademark.
Yeah. Trademark. Yeah. We're doing this.
If you want to do it, give us money.
Yeah. Go fund us. We're starting soon.
Go fund us. Because then you're teaching your kids, you don't just have to be friends with this person because they're in your class.
Right.
You want friends that share the same interests in when it comes to, the activities you like. And try something new. And then you try something new. But if everything you like is separate, then
how is that going to align with that? And with the mom friend thing, I feel like it's easier for me to make friends that have nothing to do with my kids. That's easier for me. But then you put your kid in and then it's like, I want to make sure that I don't fuck up my kid's friendship because of me. You know what I mean? Like there's that. My oldest, she is not like me. She is not like, blah, like she's very like, she's shy, timid, and once you get to know her, she's loud, but it's like, she's not like me. So
she sounds like me.
Yeah. She is more probably like you. And then
like,
there's
really quiet. Like, and then, it's like that.
They meet and then all of a sudden their mom comes along and like, I'm the crazy mom. And then they meet her and they're probably like, oh my God, I didn't. And that's the thing. It's like, I really worry about screwing up my kid because the judgment of another mom.
Yeah, fuck those moms though.
Fuck those moms. I agree. This
is the thing. Like goes back to what I said, that you're setting an example for your kid. Do you want your kid to think that they should care?
Yes. No, I don't want them to think, but yeah.
Exactly. So if that happens, and like, even if your kids ask you like, well, not everybody's going to like you and you're not going to like everybody.
Right.
And that's okay. And there doesn't need to be any animosity. Moms like that are bullies.
Right. Well, and I also feel like, especially in the town that we grew up in, it has a lot to do with where you're friends with someone and you don't know if they want to be friends with you because they want to be associated with you because you can get them somewhere because, oh, well, you're the coach's wife. Oh, okay. Well, if I'm friends with you, then like the coach, you know what I mean? It's like, are you wanting to be friends with me because you genuinely want to be friends? There's that, especially like now that the kids are getting older, I'm seeing like the very keep up
the scoping. Well, I've noticed that too, just in general, but like scoping when you're in a big crowd and like people like, okay, now who am I supposed to
get me what I want?
Like, who gives a shit? I'm definitely like, I got nothing to offer anybody. So
well, and I don't want to be the keep up with the A. Joneses person, but I also don't want to be like, but it's just funny
don't
to
do
see
something
like,
to get something out of it.
That's exactly.
That's the point of it is just, and that's what you want to teach your kids. Like you don't get to know somebody or do something because you're going to get something. Don't outwardly go out of your way to do something for someone because you expect them to do something.
Yeah. Like you. It's everything doesn't have to be a pat on the back. Like I rub your back, you rub my back, not everything has to be that way.
Not everything. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I just find when it comes to like making mom friends, like you said, there's that pressure.
I feel it a lot, especially moving back
and with your daughter's age, like that's just, I feel like that's when I felt it the most. And now I feel like it's a little bit easier, but now it's like cliques have formed already. So it's like, who hangs out with who, who hangs out with that person. And being at that wine tasting last night, like you can see the mom groups that like, and it's cool, like awesome. I love that. But then you can also like see the ones that like, you're like,
that's great. But if you don't do it, that's also okay.
That's okay. And it's like, that's where I think like I said,
I was actually thinking about this in the shower today. It's like, there's a lot of people who have issues with certain people doing things a certain way, but want to do things their way. But then thinking that the other people have an issue with the way they do things. It's like, no, you do you, but don't judge. You can't judge other people for doing them either. Yeah. And that's where the divide is. Cause it's like, you have that. Okay. But it can't interfere with hindering that I live my life the way I live it. And being an introvert, that is like, there's a lot of pressure to, you have to be doing all these things. And it's like, no, you don't, because not everybody has to do that.
No.
And especially for a child who's young, overstimulation is not good for a child.
No.
In the first 6 years, it's not. And you can look to any childhood development stuff you want. You can at me all you want. I don't care. But it's not good when you are establishing the wiring in your brain to boom, 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 boom. And then you're teaching that kid, you always have to be doing shit. Yeah. No, you don't.
No.
But I do think we need to make that app.
I do think we need to make the app because I feel like this is the other thing. I do know someone who knows how to make apps, but okay. So one thing I did want to say is that copyright. The one thing that I cannot handle is when someone sits and complains about their husband the whole entire time. That's how some moms connect, where they're like, I'm going to complain about my husband. Not that I don't care, but like,
it's one thing to just be like, oh my God. And then that's it. But if that's the whole basis of the dialogue.
Yeah. But then again, it's like, I'm sure there's been times where I've met someone and I've talked about something that's completely whatever. And they're like, I don't ever want to talk to her ever again because all she did was talk about the universe and how she wears crystals. He's weird. That's
again why this app would be important. Do you like astrology?
Exactly. Yeah. Like that. Oh God, I really feel like we need to do that app. Like now that's my brain is turning.
Yeah, actually it'd be really cool too, like, because we're going to be doing this later, but doing astrology, like, your kids' astrology and stuff like that. And like what, other ones mesh with it.
Right. Well, and then also too, there's the ones where like, I want to meet mom friends that want to hang out with me and not always with my kid. That's one thing.
The opposite. I just want to have you're getting your play in. That's great. I can talk to this person while you're doing it.
Right. But that's the criteria for me is that like, if I want to hang out with you without my kid, then we're going to be friends. But if I don't want to hang out with you, I only want to hang out with you because that's kind of like my divide to want to.
How about this, that you like the parent, but you can't stand the kid and you don't want the kid around him?
That's,
it happens.
I'm sure it happens. It has to happen. I mean, that's comparable to like,
you can't tell the parent boyfriend. Like, hey, I like you, but
right. But that's like having the shitty boyfriend, but loving his mom.
Yeah.
Like
you just can't.
No. And that's what I kind of feel like it is. It's like dating, like you said, like the dating app. It's like you kind of have to go through having this thing. And then, everybody opens up a little bit more as you get to know them. Like, okay.
That's what I'm worried about. That there's like a couple people that I'm like, ooh. And now I'm like afraid that we're going to have like a few play dates. I'm going to go, oh. And then it's going to be like, well, I want to play with Claudia.
Yes. Yeah. Like the friend that I have because of her mom, you never know, like, do you want to go get wine? Okay, yep, you'll go get wine. Like, okay, check mark. You can have drinks with me. And then like after you have a few drinks, you're talking and you commute because it's like you can usually find something to talk about, but it's like if you can't find that one thing to talk about, then you're stuck. Now what do we have to talk about our kid again?
Yeah, I mean, and then that's too is what do you want the relationship for? Is it to bond over your children, or is it to just kind of be able to not have to think about that for like 5 minutes?
Like having like is it going to turn into a friendship? Like a real friendship, or is it going to turn into that mom friendship? Because I do think we do have, I have separate friend groups, but I just feel like the mom friend thing, like you said, it's especially for you, it's so shoved down your throat that you have to have these mom friends. And it's like, I don't want that for some reason. Like people are like, well, why don't you want it?
And that's what I'm teaching is she knows I'm an introvert. I mean, but I'm constantly doing stuff with her, but it's all, she has preschool and then we go to the library and then she plays at the library and then we come home and we, do some French lessons and then dinner. It's very it's boring, but for her age is good. Like obviously like I want to get her into karate actually in this fall. And
I wish we would
have her start doing that. She loved it. We went up to one of our friends up in Neenah. Their daughter had a birthday party and they had it at the karate place, and she is perfect for her. She wants to do ballet, but I told her not till preschool's over because I can't afford ballet and preschool and all this stuff.
Oh, it's like, that's another thing. Like as soon as you get into activities like that,
even worse.
Right. Then it gets like separated. Either you want to be in the mom group, like the dance mom group or the soccer mom group, or you don't. And you kind of want to like dabble in it. Like I'm the dabbler. Like I kind of want to be like hanging out. And then I want to be like, there's sometimes where I just want to sit at my phone and not talk to anybody because
that's kind of funny. Like, I didn't think about that, but like me being in dance, because I was in ballet for 8 years and I didn't think about that with my mom. Like my mom wasn't in any clique or anything, she dropped me off, she waited and you don't
realize it until like you're old. Like I never was like, oh my God, my parents.
So why do we put so much pressure on ourselves when we didn't even notice it?
Right.
Until we're at this age.
Yeah, no, I'm very much like, I kind of don't mind being that one that kind of stands back. There's sometimes where I want to come up, but I enjoy being alone. So like, I don't constantly need someone by me all the time. So there's certain times where I'm like, I'm crabby. I don't want to be around anybody else, sit back here and be on my phone. And then there's other times where I'm like, I'll go talk to the other moms because I'm feeling talkative that day, Yes,
you shouldn't feel obligated to be or do a certain thing because a group of people decided that you need to.
Right. But then it's so funny because then you get like you wonder if like they're looking over and be like, God, she's kind of bitchy. Like she just stands there, like, which is fine. Like, let it be what it is. But like, not for me, but when seeing other moms, like, do they think the way that I do, which not everybody thinks, but like, are they kind of just like, I don't care if I'm included or not? Or are they standing back there being like, I wish someone would ask me to come over and hang out with that.
I know you're a Gemini, but I think you think too much about that.
Oh God. I totally overthink everything. Are you kidding me? And then I go on a whole nother level of like overthinking. Like overthinking is my jam.
Mine too.
Not a good jam, but it
can be. I think it can. It has its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
I feel like mine's gonna get because again, at this preschool, it's not in town. There are some kids from our town there, but I don't know which ones might be at her elementary. And there's like 3 elementaries, which is also.
And this is the other thing. You never know who your kid's going to choose to have friends with. And guess what? They might be someone that you went to high school with.
Is that going to happen?
But it's weird because like there's certain things where it's like that is a whole nother level of like, oh my gosh, like my friend's going to be friends with, or my kid could be friends with someone that I know from school and didn't know them. Do they have a prejudgment of me? Like the one thing that I've told everybody, I do not judge anybody from high school because I was not my true self in high school. I was not who I wanted to be. I was very much a follower. Like I didn't love high school because I freaking hated school. But like, I don't want to judge anybody else.
Social aspect was nice.
Yes, that's the only reason why I went to school. I only wanted to socialize, but I don't want to judge anybody from who they were in high school because it's such a weird time of your life, whatever. So like, I try very hard not to judge any, like you get a redo after high school, because I was probably a bitch in high school to a lot of people just because like I was so worried about my friends liking me, which you shouldn't have to be that anyway. It's because then you think about like, so I had a friend over and her mom went to high school and she was like a few years older. And now our kids are in school together. But
I think I would only have people who they're much younger than when we were in high school because of how late I had.
This is the other thing. I had when I was 25, 26. I felt like people looked at me and they're like 16 and pregnant. Like that's when you had like, oh God. Cause I look younger. Like I always looked younger.
I got ID the other day and I felt so good.
Yes. And I always think I look younger and then I'm like, I'm the young, but like a younger mom for being 40 and having a 13 and 11-year-old. Typically like the moms are like 45ish with the kids my age. You know what I mean? Like I feel very young. So I think you're more of like that average age now of.
Really?
Yes. Well, I do.
See. I'm afraid of there being this like, hey, and me being like, hey, and not because I'm terrible with remembering people. And I just feel like, yeah, I don't know.
But see, I remember like, everybody's face. I don't remember names, but
that's an even heightened obligation then. Okay. Yes. So like if it is somebody you knew and then it's like, well, now I have to be friends or I have to do these things. I don't know. But I think if you do know me, you know that I am selective with socializing. So
right. Which there's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes I think that that's good because and I've gotten better at like not socializing as much because it's like I don't need all these overcommitments of doing these things.
And I don't want anybody to take I love my friends. I love everybody we grew up with, but it's really draining for me if it's too much socializing. Like I love to be social, but it's very limited.
Oh yeah.
Of what I can exert.
No. Since I went out Thursday night, there's probably nothing going on this weekend because I can't go but I used to love that shit. Like it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then like Sunday, go get
bars. It was nothing, and then that's something I learned too, after I stopped working in the restaurant industry is because I was very social, but it's because I was constantly drunk.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and I realized that I needed that. And I still smoked cigarettes at the time too. So cigarettes helped my anxiety.
Yep.
And the alcohol made me feel more comfortable in social settings.
And that'll be a whole nother episode because social drinking and anyway, but that'll be a whole nother one. But the socializing aspect of the mom friends is where I feel like that's where like people want the mom friends so they can have something to go socialize. It's more like that. It's not.
It's a bonding. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's just, it's so weird. It's just weird.
I think we put too much pressure on ourselves of needing certain types of relationships, specific types of relationships, what those relationships should be and how they should operate. It'd also be cool to just have like a mom friend where you can not do anything, So why is that not even, that's still socializing if you just get together and, watch some ridiculous show or even just like listen to music and
chill.
Paint. I don't know. Yeah. I know they have, and I only say that because I know they have those like painting groups where like.
The paint nights.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like there is this whole entire like find your tribe. And
there is absolutely. And why we need that app.
Yes. And like, I do think you do need to find a tribe because I think everybody needs someone to talk to, but I feel like there's so much pressure. And then people start to like, well, my friend's not there for me when I needed her. And it's like, well, that's not what your friends are always there for, you have to tell them that you need help, but that's again, a whole nother episode. But I just feel like there is this whole entire find your tribe and find your village. And if you don't have it, there's something wrong with you. And there's nothing wrong with you. One of the key points we need to like really push is that there's nothing wrong with you if you don't have a tribe.
And I especially think too, with people who move somewhere where they're not from, like you said, you luckily have friends that were friends who had
and I can
kids
imagine.
Too.
Yeah.
And so you already know who they are. But when you move somewhere where you don't know anybody, but you want your kid to have friends and, when they're younger, you still have to be there.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But like I said, even at that pizza party when that mom came up to me and she started talking and it's funny because it's this like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
But you can always say no too. You know what I mean?
know, but that's it's such a weird, it's just weird.
It's weird. It is. But at the end of the day, like I said, with worrying about what other moms think, fuck that.
I mean, I've been that way my whole life. Let's be for real. I've cared way too much. I'm worried, I know, and I'm way better at it now. Like I give most zero fucks about it, but I'm always just like, oh, like that. It gets you every once in a while where you're like, oh, like you feel like you're in high school again.
That's
like,
everywhere. No matter what profession you have, those cliques are everywhere.
Right.
You can be working in an office and there's cliques,
Yeah.
And again, going back to, it's most likely because that's how they were raised.
Right.
This is how we operate. This is, how you get somewhere in life. And like you said, move up or whatever. And you do you, whatever. But like, that actually is all the time that we have. So thanks for tuning in. Yeah, thanks. We'll talk to you all next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Anonymous Mom. Have a question you want answered or a topic you'd love for us to discuss? Email us at anonymousmompod@gmail.com. Or if you want to remain anonymous, join our Facebook group, Anonymous Mom, where you can post your topic or question anonymously. Thanks for listening.